Hello. I want to start this segment by just acknowledging your vulnerability, your courage, your willingness, bravery, and commitment. And so, during the attack, I started writing this book and these foundation steps based off the 20 years of mental health and just my background on how to get through the attack, work with the PTSD, work with the pain, the trauma and stress, because stress triggers the PTSD and the pain. And so I did my foundation steps, and through this 2-year process after the attack, I got my body, besides the permanent injuries, back to a place where I really felt like the best shape of my life, 25 years old, and I've said this in other videos. And then life humbles me again. Right when I thought I had my purpose, life says, hey, you have stage 4 prostate cancer at the age of 50 when I was feeling like I was 25. What? That's right, what? Very rare, shocking. And this, hearing the news, and to those spiritual warriors and people going through cancer treatment, getting a cancer diagnosis, going into remission, healing from cancer, people going through trauma, healing through trauma, people dealing with stress, toxic work environments, relationships, life. Life humbled me and said, step back. There's no timeline on life. Should have remembered that from the attack. You never know. Life is not guaranteed. And so in the book, I call cancer my profound teacher, because it really did build off the attack, where I stepped back and I said, whoa, what is important in life? What matters? How do I want to live my life? What brings me here today? And I sat with that. And I thought about it, I reflected, I wrote, and I decided to pretty much work with my cancer the same way I've been working with the PTSD and the pain and things most of my life, besides drinking. That's what I did back then. But doing the foundation steps. And so identifying with the cancer. And I will share this, and other people may resonate with this, that hearing that cancer diagnosis, that flush of energy was the same flush of energy I had when I heard the door slamming open during the attack and the guy chasing me with the knife. And this is that initial wham. And that initial wham, or second wham, made me step back again and ask, what brings me here again? And so I decided to work with the cancer the same way, with working on ruminating about the cancer, identifying with a timeline of life, identifying with pain, work on accepting the changes in my body, and reflecting that, hey, there is still this purpose to continue doing what I'm doing, but adjust it from just working through trauma and pain to now well-being and working with my cancer. And so that beautiful skyline behind me is one of the reasons I came out here, to reflect and reflect deeply. And my mindfulness practice allows me to get deep with my reflections. So as shocking the cancer was, and I didn't want it, and I still work with that. But it was a similar timeline to what I shared about working with the trauma and the PTSD. For the first 6 months, wow, I was just not doing well. I was really caught up in that hamster going nowhere fast, just identifying with the cancer. I need to get this done in life, poor me, and identifying what I couldn't do anymore and what I wanted to do that I wasn't able to. And sitting with this during my meditations and life, I mean, if I didn't meditate, I'd be thinking about it 99% of the time throughout my day. And so, at least with meditation, I opened the door to be aware with it, of identifying. So I worked on setting intentions when I'm on autopilot or just thinking about my health, to stop and come back to my practice and breathe into the body. And in that moment, I'm breathing and I'm grateful. And so these are where the practices pay off. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's very difficult, as we all know. And even just daily life stress. And I learned after all these years of working on myself and being in the field that stress, no bueno. So stress to me is the root of everything, and it's going to trigger my mental health, my PTSD. It's going to trigger my pain, and it's definitely going to break down my immune system and not do well with the cancer. And so I shifted in the foundation steps from focusing on just trauma now to just overall well-being and working with life and stress and working to live life to the fullest and be the best version of myself I can be and to give back. So as you go through this, I'm sharing my story because I know you can relate, especially with cancer and trauma and stress. I've been in very bad. Sometimes I think all the stress I had carried on in my drinking in the past, I kind of broke down my immune system, and who knows. I talk about epigenetics and, being tested in my genes for cancer, and no genetic makeup for cancer in my genes, so it's like, ooh, how was I living? And so cancer is the big teacher, because I can step back and reflect. What brings me here today? Allow me to look at life and just see how I'm living it. And I much rather be living my life doing this, enjoying these outdoors, doing something for my purpose, like recording this for the course, than thinking about having cancer, how long it's going to take, and that I don't feel safe going outside and getting caught up in that. And so I will leave you with this, that whatever life is throwing at you, you'll get through it. It'll make you stronger. Get a practice, commit to yourself, and just be cool to yourself, love yourself, be cool to others. Thanks.